love that. We love that about you.
All right, let's do a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to say a few words.
Father, we come humbly before you and we thank you for this day. Father, we pray, Father, now for this board, for the mayor, for the trustees. We pray, Father, for your blessing and your favor, not only upon their help, but Father, we pray for wisdom and discernment as they lead this village into today and into the future. So we ask your blessing and favor upon them. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Mine's just right, but it's locked. There it goes. All right, let's start off with a public hearing on local law 2-2020 on the water capital charge.
We need a motion to go in the public, or
Okay, need a motion to go into the public hearing?
I make the motion.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. What's next?
that's our proposed raise.
Village of Walton Local Law Number 2 of the year 2020. Local law to amend the municipal code regarding water charge in the village. Being enacted by the Village Board of the Village of Walton, Section 1, the following provision to the village code is hereby amended to read, and it's Article 252-11A. Rates for water service shall be as followed. 2, minimum charge per quarter, $44.25. This is a capital improvement charge and is charged regardless of water usage or lack thereof. Section 2, the local law shall take effect upon filing with the Secretary of the State of New York.
Can you tell us what the change reflects, an increase or a decrease?
Probably could, but I don't want to. No, just kidding. Jody?
$2.60.
I'm sorry.
It's $2.60.
Okay. It's an increase?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And Jody, can you tell us when the last time the capital charge was increased?
Was that the last water project?
No, the last few times it's been decreasing
Okay.
because of the project that we did in 2011. But now we're amping up, getting ready for the new project, so.
And
Instead of increasing it $10 all at once, the board decided to do it incrementally.
And so what is the new project that's being planned?
It's
I know, but maybe people don't remember.
replacing the infrastructure on the water system on, I forgot which streets they were.
Burton Street and
Blue Street
Blue Street
and Union Street.
and Union Street, and then also to do some work on revamping the well house and the water tanks.
That's part of our $1.2 million
Yep.
grant that we received.
to cover the other $800,000.
Yep.
And lastly, when is that project slated to start?
Probably.
Oh, do we know that yet?
No, we won't know that yet, but it's gonna be probably, what, a couple of years probably anyways. Bill?
Construction will probably won't be till next year.
Next year? Year and a half, okay. Anything else? Anybody?
I do just have one more question. Jody, you said this at the last meeting. What is the average that people can expect to see an increase in their, is it just this per quarter? Is it just the $2.60
That's the flat increase, yes.
Yep.
per quarter?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Close it.
Yep.
A motion to close the public hearing?
Motion?
Second.
Motion made, second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. All right, you want to pass the local law?
Need a motion?
I make a motion to pass the local law.
Second.
Motion made second to pass the local law. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right, let's go to public input.
Did you want to ask Maureen? Maureen?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna have her come up and do her bit here.
Thank you for allowing me to come tonight. My name is Maureen Blanchard. I am the project director on a grant creating healthy schools and communities. My office is out of SUNY Cobleskill. However, I am working in Delaware, Otsego, and Schoharie counties in select school districts that were identified by New York State Department of Health as high needs because they had high numbers of students who are obese, high numbers of families using SNAP benefits or public assistance, high numbers of free and reduced priced meal usage. And so this grant started in 2015. It ends actually this September. Walton was one of the communities that we have been trying to work with, both in the school and in the community. In the past, the doors weren't always open, so currently, I am very happy to see that you're allowing me to come talk, and last fall, we did buy bike racks that were installed in the park. I still have more money that I am looking to spend, and Walton is a community that if you're interested, I have probably, roughing it, about $15,000 that I'm going to need to spend this spring and have the project installed this summer, so it's going to be a very fast turnaround since my grant ends. But the problem is with New York State Department of Health, they didn't give me all my money at the beginning of my grant year. They do it in pieces, and I'm still waiting for the part that's going to cover the implementation. But as soon as I get that, I need to spend it because I have to have that spent by June 30th. So it's going to be a very fast turnaround. Things that I can buy, the goal of the grant is obesity prevention, looking at physical activity and promoting physical activity, as well as healthy eating and access to healthy foods. So the village passed complete street policy back in 2015. I'm working off of that right now and saying, you got the policy, what can I do to help you implement? Complete Streets help improve safety in communities. They work on economic revitalization. They allow people of all ages and abilities to move around. They improve the health by getting people out and walking or biking, and it can actually improve the lifespan of infrastructure because bicycles and people weigh less than cars and trucks. So it really does extend the life there. And it helps the environment because if we get people out walking, they're not using their cars and not polluting the air as much. So I have some money to help implement, if you are interested, ideas that I have done in other communities. I have done radar speed signs to help slow traffic. We've done them on trailers. The studies are showing that if you move it through the community, it actually has a bigger impact than posting it in one location. I have done pedestrian activated crossing beacons so that if a pedestrian pushes a button, it lights up a beacon. Cars see that better than a pedestrian who's typically dressed like me, all in black, and is invisible at night. And most crosswalks are invisible to cars as well. So the beacons help light up the crosswalk for and improve pedestrian safety. I have done wayfinding signage that tells where different locations are in the community, so we could put the grocery store, the library, the schools, Village Hall, whatever the community would be interested in. We could look at it instead of mileage, because if you say it's half a mile away, people are like, oh, that's too far. But if you say it's a 10-minute walk, people will walk that distance. So we can put it in terms of how long it would take somebody to walk instead of mileage to promote greater activity. We can do pop-up projects if there was something that you wanted to try in the community. We can do that. We can fund benches, and to, like along the Riverwalk that I was at the meeting last night and heard all about the Riverwalk. So we can work on that. I also included in the information that I gave you a grant through Delaware County Complete Street Committee at O'Connor Hospital. They have funding, probably around $4,000, that if you apply, it's a guaranteed, almost a guarantee that you're going to get that money. That, again, could go for the Riverwalk for benches and things like that. My grant, again, is guaranteed money. If we can identify some things in the community that you're looking for, we can do that as long as you can guarantee that we can get them installed this summer. I have just rewritten my grant. I have included Walton in my next round of funding. If I'm awarded, unfortunately, I won't find out if I get that until July. With that round of funding, if I'm awarded, we're allowed to do infrastructure, replacing sidewalks. So if you've got sidewalks, we can do the materials. If the village DPW would do the labor, then I can pay for the materials.
Nice.
So I'm hopeful that I'll get that grant and be able to continue working with you. But for right now, I know that I have probably about $15,000 that I can spend within the community to help you implement. So.
Yeah, I'm sure we can find a way to implement it here.
So I did put together a binder with some information on complete streets and how to implement them, and just some different information on that. That is for you to keep. There's all kinds of information in the folders that I passed out. My business card is in there if anybody has any questions. I'm here to help.
Sounds good. We'll put Nate in charge of some of this here so we can.
Sounds great. Thank you.
We've been doing some work together already, so.
Yep.
So. The other thing I brought with me tonight, I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's an organization out of Sharon Springs, Hero Fund America, that funds fire department and police department safety and education. And they do a 4-mile race every spring, where they ask for police, ambulance, and fire departments to come in. They compete in full duty gear. If Walton is interested, here's the information on that as well, and you can share it with them, Craig.
Yes, sign me right up.
The race is run for the hills, and it is a hilly race.
Yeah.
The post-race party is great, and the number of fire departments, police, and ambulance crews that are participating has grown every year. It is amazing to see these guys, the firemen, in full turnout.
Yeah.
So,
We've got a few guys that would probably be right up their alley.
So.
Joe's one of them.
Maybe 20 years ago.
That it?
Push-ups. 15.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Anything else on public input?
I wanted to bring up Meet the Candidates, which affects some of you guys here. The Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring that tomorrow, Tuesday, May 3rd, at 7 p.m. at the library. So you guys have
March.
2 spots open, and there's 4 people vying for the 2 tier terms. So 7 p.m. that day. And we are going to live stream it, so if people want to get questions in, like through email or even in person now or later, we can do stuff ahead of time, and so people can watch it, which will be the first time ever live streaming that.
Where's going to be doing that? Down in the basement?
The library, in the basement,
Okay.
yeah. And then the other thing I want to bring up is I've been working with Nate a little bit on this, but the chamber got some grant funding for flower barrels and or trees on Main Street. We kind of didn't want to get more flower barrels, but trees have been talked about for a bit. We got to hurry up and spend that money, so we're trying to maybe just buy some nursery money or something. But
And what is the deadline on spending that money?
I do not know, because I'm not the one writing, or that got the grant. It was through the chamber, but so I just kind of want to say that I'm really trying to work on that, and that I plan on following up with you guys, obviously. But
I think it'd be nice to get some new trees downtown,
yeah,
but maybe trees that would be.
There's at least 12 empty spots, probably about 4 or 5 trees that probably could be replaced. Another 5 that look okay. We probably shouldn't tear down a really nice, big, healthy tree, but maybe consensus might be to have everything be the same. I'm not, but we have about, I want to say it's like 2 to 3 grand, and it has to be matched, so the chamber, so it's kind of a bit of money, so, that we need to spend. It's through the Paul and Miriam Mattern Fund.
Okay.
So, but I've been working with Cornell Cooperative Extension to try to figure out what the best type of trees are, and
Something
they've
that
been
won't
reaching out to the
overgrow
people
or
that actually
anything.
know urban trees very well when it
Yep.
comes to maintenance, size, longevity, et cetera. So, but Nate's been part of that project from the beginning, but
Yeah.
the other people part of that committee have not been as involved, so we're trying to just get that
No,
shelved
I
through,
think,
so.
Did
yeah.
Matter Fund commit to a amount of?
Well, we
specific-
spent some of the money on music already,
Yeah.
so I haven't gotten, I hoped I would have that by tonight, but I didn't, but
How much money has to be matched?
well, the chamber has the money to match it, we
Oh.
already committed to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but we don't want to send the money back,
Yeah.
No.
so, like, by any means, so, but, and then the next round of funding is coming right up for that, so
Yeah, we're
we
working
don't
on
want to
that right
apply
now
for another grant without
ourselves.
spending for the last one,
Yep.
so.
So do you have to give permission for the chamber to plant trees in the village?
There's no real
I'm-
code, as far as I've read about trees.
Well, if you're working within the right of way, the village has to give permission to do
Yeah,
whatever
like,
work
it's
within the
very-
right of way.
And that's DOT.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
So-
DOT is gonna say, we put the sidewalks in, you maintain them, and these trees are within the sidewalk, so
It's very
I would
hazy
think
with
at a
who,
minimum, we should at least start with, if the village board's okay with it, passing
Yeah.
a resolution that you're okay with it, and then if we gotta go fight with DOT, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Before you did that, you'd need to know the type and how
primarily
Yeah.
many they're
Main
gonna
Street,
get and
that
if
was
there's
the
gonna be
goal, like,
nasty
without
berries and
how
all
we
that.
get the funding.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
usually wiggle room, that grant is very,
Yeah.
very, they're pretty good without, like, all right, well, we have so much money left over, can we use that towards Veterans Park? Not we're putting trees there, but whatever, Bassett Park, whatever, so.
So yeah, why don't you
So-
get
so-
with your guy and see what kind of
Yeah,
trees
so
we
I'm
can get,
still-
give us something that's
Yeah,
more solid is what we're gonna put out, and then,
yeah, so,
We'll go from
so
there.
I'll be reaching out further
Okay.
once I get more, but I hoped I'd have more, but I kind
that's
of realized
good.
that funding was gonna end soon as I got, and it's spring is the time, so,
Yep.
which we were supposed to do this last year, but it never followed through, so just be aware that we
Yep.
talk more about trees.
We're ready.
yep,
Yeah.
make it look nicer.
Thanks, Terry.
Anybody else on public input? Okay, what I'm gonna do now is Steve has got a presentation here.
Smile for the camera.
That's all you're getting. See if I can wake this up.
Put the lights out.
Oh, it might be useful.
Grab the lights.
Ready for this?
There you go.
We're not starting. Why are we not starting?
Sure.
Sorry.
It's technical difficulty.
Now have I
It's
talked?
off.
Oh,
It's
I
on.
think you've,
There
there
you
we go.
go.
Oh, look at that, didn't even have to bend over. Shoot. The door.
I am wearing my, what hat am I wearing? My floodplain manager slash flood commission representative hat. How's that?
Slash, anything else?
Man, that's not very bright, is it? I guess it's warming up. All right, so back in like October of this past year, this past fall, the Flood Commission at that meeting basically kind of discussed where we might want to go to next in terms of flood mitigation. So kind of the consensus there was that we maybe need to start looking further up Westbrook for a number of reasons that I'll get into. So in that vein, I sat down and took a look at, because it talks about acquiring properties and whatnot, so I put together some information using current tax data. So you knew what you, as best we could, you knew what you were deciding on, if it comes to that. So basically the tributary LFA, and this is a little bit of repeat of Graydon's presentation last month, but the tributary LFA it was completed, and in this case we're focusing on Westbrook and the Mead Street Bridge area. Why this area? Well, generally speaking, the LFA recommends expanding upon floodplains for all three tributaries within the village. Very much similar to what was completed down next to the country store, between the country store and the bus garage. It's that same concept through the village. And yes, sir.
LFA.
Local flood analysis.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. So basically, you need to increase the floodplains and get in bigger bridges through our village in order to better handle flood conditions within the village. So the Westbrook floodplain reclamation adjacent to the country store and the bus garage, completed in 2013, I believe. Removed historical fill, returned it to a naturally functioning floodplain, and to better protect primarily the bus garage, because the bus garage, even on very low flood conditions, would get wet. So, and since that's been completed, we've had numerous times spring flooding, kind of normal spring flooding, where that floodplain has been accessed, but the bus garage did not get flooded. So it's doing what it was designed to do. So that's basically what it looks like today. So again, why the Mead Street Bridge area? Well, we want to expand upon that and basically go on up through the neighborhood with a floodplain. So again, the LFA demonstrate that a bigger bridge over Westbrook on Mead Street would handle the water during more frequent high water events, and it's the logical progression upstream from the completed floodplain that we've already done. And I will throw a caveat in there: it's upstream. There needs to be work downstream to address the Delaware Street Bridge. Kind of in the plans, thinking about that's probably got some bigger hurdles to deal with in terms of dealing with the city or the state on the one hand, because it's a state bridge. On the other hand, there might be a simpler project that could be completed there, basically a floodplain drain. Throw in a couple of culverts to take the water off of that floodplain. So it's kind of a little bit of a different animal there. So we're looking upstream at this point. Obviously, doing that, it connects the corridor for better flood reductions, and I think probably is a key here is the owners of the properties involved are willing participants. They're tired of getting flooded. They're ready to move on with their lives and not get flooded. So what's it going to take? The acquisition and removal and lowered elevations of 45, 46, 48, and 49 Mead Street. Ultimately, the properties would become municipal property. So this is the area that we're talking about. And upon acquisition and completion of the project, then basically your floodplain would look essentially like that. I don't have one of them fancy pointers like my cousin does. So basically this is the floodplain that's been completed already. And this is the area where the properties would be acquired. Floodplain bench put in, larger span here on Mead Street, and floodplain bench continued up into these backyards here, which their backyards, most of them are a pretty good drop already anyway, so maybe not much needs to be done there. And then at this point, for the future, you could hop over to the other side of the stream and continue your floodplain bench up through there and continue that connection of that corridor up through there. So, between the yellow lines on that map is the current flood map. Okay, that's the current 100-year floodplain elevation. Between the red lines is where the floodplain would be upon completion of that project. Ultimately, you're going to take about 24 houses out. You're going to take this entire block out of the flood zone, and you're going to hit a couple other houses as well. Really wish I had a pointer. Jody, can I buy a pointer?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the particulars. So as of the 2019 tax roll, the assessed value on those 4 properties is $283,000. It breaks down to approximately a third, and a third for the taxing entities, town and county, village, and school. So the total combined tax revenue is about $8,700 a year. Homes outside the special flood hazard area, on average, are valued at about $6 per square foot more than homes located in the special flood hazard area. So this works out to be about $325 more per home in paid taxes for the homes outside the special flood hazard area. So if you pull those 24 homes from the special flood hazard area and those values increase by $6 per square foot, if you do the math, that comes out to about $7,800 more in revenue, offsetting that loss of $8,700 per year of those 4 properties coming off. So you're at about $900 a year less in taxes collected amongst the 3 entities. So that's about $300 lost per year per taxing entity. So it certainly doesn't look as, and the reason why I did this and went to this length is because anytime you hear about removing properties from the flood zone, removing properties from the tax roll, all you hear is, oh, it's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars to the tax roll. The fact of the matter is that, yes, it's going to cost, but we're not talking thousands of dollars here. So the end result is that 4 structures would be removed. 3 of the 4 are vacant and dilapidated, so it's no great loss, quite frankly. So the neighborhood would look better. As discussed, up to 24 residential structures would be moved from the floodplain. They wouldn't have to buy flood insurance. Not that all 24 currently do, but the average cost for flood insurance is about $1,000 a year.
Removed and removed. That's scaring the you-know-what out of people.
And that's why I took a look at the numbers to, yes, it's going to be a loss, but, again, we're not talking thousands of dollars. And
But
the benefits that you have are those 24 properties that are removed from the flood zone are now more marketable, they're more valuable.
Removed being out of that area, not
Right,
destroy.
not 24.
Right.
Right.
That's
Right.
the
Removed from the flood zone, not removed from the property. So, ultimately you have those 24 properties no longer in the flood zone. How's that, Steve? And of course you have a reduced flooding risk to the business district from upstream sources, not to mention the neighborhood that it's in. So that's that in a nutshell. Basically, the city buyout program, as it stands right now, it's, all participants need to be willing participants. It requires village approval in order for them to buy out properties within the village. So, I offer this information for you to consider and decide, if you want to give your blessing to the project and move forward. We would basically put it in the hands of the planning department to shepherd these 4 property owners through the buyout process. If we started today, it might be completed 2 years from now as far as just the buyout process. It takes a long time to get through. So, nothing would happen immediately, except that they would get the ball rolling on the buyout process. So, and, there's obviously no pressure to make a decision today or next month, but it's something that, I think that the board needs to consider. Decision today would be nice, but no pressure to do so. Again, it's going to take a while to get through it. So
there's
no
another-
pressure, but the sooner we get started, the sooner something happens.
No pressure.
So if there's another flooding event that impacts those properties, does that affect their eligibility or anything?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
So if those 4 properties are
Yes.
affected by a flood event,
Yes.
does that affect their eligibility for something like that?
No.
I mean, obviously it would probably
No.
increase
If
it,
they
but-
got started in the process, basically how that process works is that the city's going to come up with a value for the property and make that offer to the property owner. And there's going to be, it's just like a normal real estate transaction, they'll be back and forth. The only thing that's going to stop that is if the village initially gave their blessing and now said, we've had something else happen and we're losing a bunch of tax revenue, we just can't go through it, so we're pulling our approval, or the property owner pulls their approval. And, they can, that process can be stopped at any time right up to the point that the contract is signed. So, in the meantime, if there was a flood that came along, whatever the case may be, I don't want to talk about what I'm not an expert in, as far as the city's buyout program. As I understand it, they're going to pay fair market value of a pre-damaged home. So if they were already in the negotiations, I would like to believe that they're going to, if they said we're going to pay you $80,000 and it got damaged due to a flood,
They wouldn't come back.
I can't see them coming back and saying, oh, we're only paying you 20 now. That would just be wrong. So,
Any more questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, how about demolition, and you're gonna have to lower the elevation?
So,
Okay.
I mean, that whole part of the project would be something that we would manage at the flood commission in terms of, going through soil and waters, coffers, whatever the case may be, pay for that part of the
To pay
project.
for it, so it's
Right.
not, other than the tax change, there's nothing really gonna fall in the village if we should go along with it.
Right. That project is going to be just like the Water Street project and, the South Street project and any of those, the Breakies project, any of those projects, those big flood mitigation projects, taxpayers are not paying for those. They're going to be paid through grants.
Going forward, will there be like any maintenance that we're gonna have to do?
Ultimately, those properties, unless there's some sort of an agreement that they turn them over to the village, actually those properties remain as city properties. So we wouldn't be required, and with a floodplain, the only maintenance that we would maybe have to do would be after a flood if it collected up flood debris like a floodplain is supposed to. So the whole idea of a floodplain is to create a space for when the water comes up in the stream, it has a place to spread out, slow down, drop its debris. Because we all know that floods are not clean water. They're carrying, campers and trees and, whatever else that they've gathered up from upstream. So when the water spreads out, it slows down and it will drop that debris. So, in the event of a big flood, may have to get in there and pick up.
Even though it's the city's property?
Again, I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't know exactly what that final, because we haven't gone through this process yet. The Breaking Motors project was supposed to go through this process and it ended up getting stalled out, and funding was found through CWC to go through that. So ultimately, I don't know what that would look like.
that if that becomes city property, what, in terms of public access, I mean, is it going to be the same scenario of what breakies will be in general?
Well, yes, one of the benefits we can, as we create that floodplain, like on the lower side of Mead Street, I've always pictured in my head, that floodplain is a great spot that was initially done in 2013, but you can't really get to it, right? The public can't really get to it without crossing over top of somebody else's property. So one of the things that I've discussed at length with Soil and Water is creating vehicular access because all of that would be lowered to that same elevation, creating vehicular access so you could actually get in there if, you know, somebody wanted to do a flea market or whatever the case may be, you've got a place to actually access that property and make it a useful piece of property.
Any more questions for Steve? All right, thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. Give me 2 minutes to get some of my garbage out of the way.
While you're doing that, what do you need? Unplugged?
Pull the plug.
Let's go over the abstracts, payments, and invoices. Everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion. We accept the abstracts as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to take care of the abstracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right. You cleared out, Steve?
I'm cleared out.
All right. Let's do department heads. Mr. Smith, you're first.
Good evening, everyone. I'm pretty sure everybody got my report.
Yeah, you actually sent him this week.
I did last month.
No, you did not.
I did. Any questions or concerns?
That's a trick question.
Rhetorical.
When are you gonna get our surplus equipment on?
As soon as the truck is cleaned up.
When's it gonna be cleaned up?
Hopefully soon.
People
Maybe.
are calling the village incessantly asking when they can start putting the spring cleaning out at the curb.
It's a warm day. They think it's spring already.
Yeah.
When you wanna, just as they put it up?
They
pick it
usually
up?
don't follow the dates anyway, so.
Okay.
Speaking of excess equipment, we have some steel concrete curb forms that have not been used for years and years and years and years and years. So we'd like to add those to the list of items that we're gonna sell.
Oh, I thought you wanted to experiment with using the curb forms. You can gladly come to 8 Platt Street and...
No, we're putting granite curb in.
Oh, excuse me.
So you
Do we
wanna,
have to
you
make a
want?
motion?
Yes, make them surplus. So,
I make a motion to make the steel curb frames that have not been used in the DPW garage surplus property to be auctioned.
For years.
so you wanna second that?
Second.
Okay, motion made second to make the curbing equipment surplus. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I'll even help carry them.
Will ya? Everything was pretty good. We did have one water main break, and we did have one sewer blockage, which we pulled out about a 5-gallon pail of rags out of that manhole.
Rags.
Rags.
Wipes.
Yeah.
Yep.
People need to stop flushing rags.
So,
You know what it means?
One street
Every
location.
rag that goes down the bowl is another buck on your sewer bill.
yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Public service announcement.
Yes, there you go.
Please stop flushing rags.
I think they put this in the paper last week.
Yeah, it's in the paper.
Jody
It
did.
is.
It can't be in the paper enough.
It's in capital letters.
If you taped it on every toilet, it wouldn't stop.
Just for the record, the DPW director is being very charitable about what's being found other than rags.
Yeah.
Leave it up to your imagination.
Anything else there, Mr. Smith?
Nope, that's it. Hopefully weather holds out, and we're gonna start sweeping here pretty soon, hopefully.
Okay, hopefully. It's supposed to hold up.
Yep, it's looking good so far.
Anybody else got any questions for Butch?
No, sir.
Look at that. That's painless again.
It was.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Craig? Mr. Moffett? Want to come up here too?
What?
I know you probably don't, but do it anyways.
Bye. Thank you.
Pardon me?
This is a first, usually I get yelled at. Chaperone.
Yeah.
Keep an eye
Gotta
on it.
make sure he does everything he's
Well,
supposed to.
I didn't send a report because the days of the month here didn't fall right, so I'll have numbers all calculated this week and Thus get everything out noted. to you, so. No purchases by me. We do have
Good job.
to approve the city side of the sewer budget tonight, we would like to. Correct, Jody?
Yes. I emailed that to everybody.
We're still whittling away on the village side, but we're ready for the city side.
So I
we
need a
approve for that.
motion.
Yep. We want to give a motion on that
I'll
to
make a
accept it?
motion to approve the city side of the sewer budget.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to approve the city side of the sewer budget. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
We still got $550,000 there.
Anything
The
else?
second thing we have is we're looking to enter into a contract with Delton Sanitation to haul our sludge container. I believe it's 3-year, correct, Jody?
Yes.
And we're gonna have an increment each year of 25 cents a ton. He's been the same price forever. So, he's very reliable, he's right here in town, so, we feel it proper to do that. We would need approval for that, though.
Plus, there's no added charges for weekend pickups, for which you guys have done.
That's right, there's no added charges for that, overtime on weekends, nothing, it's your flat rate, and that's what it is, and you pay it, we need him, and he's there, so.
Entertain a motion on that?
I'd make such a motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded to accept the, I guess it's the contract for Delton Sanitation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Doig? Dick?
Aye.
There you go. Approved.
That's all I have on my end of things.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other thing we had was, I think Bill's gonna bring it up, about the chemicals.
Chemicals.
For
Okay.
doing
That's the reason why, I knew you were talking about it, that's why I brought you here.
Yep.
But,
Go back to sleep for a little while if you want to, but.
well, you can come, but,
The ball's in Bill's court on the chemicals.
Yep.
all right.
We passed the buck.
Okay, all right, see?
It works.
You faked me out, guys. All right, anything else?
No, that's it.
I don't think so, plant's running really well. Dealing with some typical, wintertime, cold weather type issues.
Well, it's supposed to be warm now, so maybe it'll go away.
Yeah,
Well, then, yeah.
don't count your blessings.
I won't.
But other than that, things are working well.
The rag
Graph's
issues, you
been
did have a
working
sludge.
well. Rags are an issue on our end, they always are, we always talk about it. But the grinder's working very well. It's chewing stuff up now where we're not pulling the pumps that we were typically pulling all the time, but it's created a problem in the screw press, where all the sludge goes down into the screw press. There's a pump there that works the sludge into the screw press, and we're dealing with rag buildup there because now they've gotten so fine that it's
Chewed up
catching
and
there.
going into
So
there.
we're having issues there, and having to derag the screw press now, which we never had to do. So the grinder, albeit working very well, is creating some issues on other ends, so.
New problems.
Just like Butch's
Well,
issue.
there
you had
again, let's
mentioned.
look at the camera. Do not flush
Right.
rags. Jeez, you can't get that out
Moves
enough.
downstream.
Exactly.
It keeps moving, yeah.
It flows downhill, so they.
We've got it almost to the sludge container where it goes to the landfill, but we can't quite get it there, so it's easier if they do it before it gets to us. It is hundreds of thousands of dollars probably when you tally it all up, so.
Oh, I'm sure.
Next time people complain about their water bill, you can mention that they're part of the problem. So, that's all I have.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
No, still my chair back.
Mr. Dusher, want to come back up again?
Yes, again?
Again? We had so much fun the first time.
Friends, you made a decision yet?
Yeah,
No, this is a different hat.
yeah, that's
Not
right.
yet. Here, let me put on my other hat.
There you go.
Got my code report.
Yep.
Liberty Street,
Yes,
number 11.
11.
It's the duplex, the brownish duplex
The windows and.
with the windows falling out and all of that sort of stuff. I have a history with this property. I sent him a notice recently regarding the plywood that he put on the windows to board up the windows, which was actually Luan, which, delaminated and fell apart in short order. And lo and behold, the letter came back to me in the mail, unreceived. So I guess I put it to the board, what do you want me to do with this next?
Does he pay the taxes?
That I don't know.
You remember offhand on 11?
I don't know,
I can't even-
remember the guy's name, so.
It's what, becoming an unsafe condition?
It's back to being unsecured in that, there's, the windows are so rotted that they're literally falling out of the building. There's, I'm not sure exactly where the property line is, but the shared driveway of the house on the Sydney Federal Credit Union side, that's her driveway. And, she's had pieces fall on her car. I don't think there's any glass left in any of the windows up above to fall on her, thankfully. That house has not been touched, to the best of my knowledge, at least since the 2006 flood. Probably since the 96 flood. It is in bad shape. So,
What do you suggest, that we go
well,
ahead and
there's-
send another letter out again to see if he accepts it, and if he doesn't, then us take actions and
Right.
and bill him for it?
that's just it. There's a procedure a couple of different things that we can do. We can essentially invite him to a hearing at next month's meeting, where basically the board acts as judge and jury. If he doesn't show, I basically go through this spiel again. House is in bad shape, and then you can authorize me to spend whatever, hire a contractor to go properly board up the windows so that we know that at least stuff isn't falling out and on the neighbor and anybody else that happens to be walking by. We need to come up with a long-term solution for this house.
Can we seize it?
I doubt that.
Can we condemn it?
Condemning it isn't gonna, if he's not responding to letters, yes, I can condemn it. I would probably need to go through to be on the safe side, go through a search warrant, document the condition of the outside, basically indicate to the judge that I need to get on the inside to verify that it is in fact structurally unsound, because I'm sure that, with open windows and water leaking in there, there's all kinds of rot. Just cover our backsides, condemn it. We're gonna push ourselves into a corner, because it's gonna become either you repair it so that it's no longer condemnable, or tear it down, or we will do the same. So, and demolition of a building, going through, dealing with asbestos evaluation, and if there is asbestos, either abating it or just handling the whole structure, you're probably $40,000, $50,000 range.
Just send him a letter, and if not, invite him to a hearing.
I don't think, honestly, looking at it, I don't think the house is gonna fall down tomorrow.
No. Can we take him to court?
We can, possibly. The problem with taking him to court is that the court is gonna find him either guilty or not guilty of having windows falling out of his house.
Okay.
Right? And he can fine him accordingly, but he's not, the judge is not gonna order him to.
To do anything about
Right.
it? Right, okay.
Is that lot big enough where if the house were raised, a new house could be built there?
Well, therein lies the other, yes, it can be. I'm sure it's a non-conforming lot in that it's, doesn't meet the 70 by 100 size. I don't know, it might come close. But there is provisions to be able to build on a smaller lot. So to at face value, yes, you could rebuild there again. Problem is, it's also in a flood zone. So in order to rebuild there, it's not just a matter of, throwing a modular on a slab and calling it good.
It's not one of those houses that would come out of the flood zone, is it?
No. Down in that neck of the woods, there's not a lot that's gonna come out of the flood zone.
Okay, so then,
So,
the suggestion would be is we send another certified letter.
do you want me to invite him to a hearing
I think we should.
and go that route?
Yeah.
See if we can get him here sitting before the board and,
Yep.
like I said, if it's a no-show, then, it's
We'll have to take
whatever
care of it.
the board wants to do
And then,
at that point.
if that's the case, we're gonna do with it. So,
Okay.
yes, let's, send him a certified, inviting him in to a
Yep.
hearing next month.
Okay.
Everybody agreement on that?
Yes.
We do,
Yeah.
we need to do a motion on that, or just, it's done?
Want to know the procedure?
don't
Go ahead,
either.
why don't we?
Yeah, let's do a motion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Do a motion on the letter then.
I'll make a motion.
For the hearing on the April meeting.
Yes, and the letter's gonna be stating that certified letter.
Yep.
Okay, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Back up. Who did it?
I made the motion.
Eric
Okay.
motion, take
Take
second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, carried.
okay, and the second property I wanted to talk about is the old Webb's building. Forgive me, I don't remember the exact address of it. Everybody knows what it is. So when the current owner first purchased that property, he found that it had, it's got a very old style internal roof drain. So the roof drained into pipes within the building. I'm assuming they built them that way so that they wouldn't freeze up, so that the roof drains were inside the building. Well, somewhere in its history, those pipes broke. So to stop the leaking, he put up a temporary roof drain that goes out the back window, and it's dumping into the parking lot that he doesn't own.
Waterfall.
Yeah. So I had a discussion with him about that and the condition of the parapet wall, the common wall and parapet above that adjoins the neighboring building. That's not in very good shape. He assured me he was going to take care of both of those items in short order. Lo and behold, nothing has happened, and I can't even get him on a telephone or to accept a letter at this point. So it's a similar situation. Do we send him a letter, invite him to, we can have 2 hearings that night.
Yes.
See if we can get him here before the board and get him to either commit to a reasonable repair timeline, or we'll do it for him.
Yeah, you can't let those buildings go.
No, and the neighbor's been in several times with a legitimate concern. I mean, if that parapet lets loose, it's coming through his ceiling. So,
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
motion made, seconded, send a letter inviting him to a hearing next month. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Steve, what is the nature of that hearing?
To have them come forward and, yes, so are you gonna know you're gonna be fixing your property or not? And if you're not, we're gonna fix it for you, it's gonna go on your tax bill.
Yes.
I mean, they're unsafe, so that's what's gotta be done.
all right, I think that's all I got.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief? How are you there, Mr. DeValio?
Good.
Chief, sir.
Mayor, how are you?
Good.
How's everybody doing?
Good to see you.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So you guys got the monthly report, right?
Yeah, we sure did.
Okay, all right. So, aside from the other good news here, we got a confirmation back from DCGS that we got the 10,000 to full grant for the live scan.
Nice.
So, seemed to work out pretty good, I guess. So there's a lot more steps that we're gonna have to go through in order to obtain compliance with it, but it seems to be on track and we're moving forward with it. So the first phase is gonna be in April. So we got a little reprieve to get things started, but over the next several months, we'll have it together and then go forward with it.
Okay, good deal.
And again, I expect within 2 years, this will be like positive. You know, the other half of the grant will, you know, next year and a half, we'll match that with not having to go to Delhi anymore and be much more efficient, so. The other issue we had this month was we were scheduled for the Narcan training in Delhi.
Right.
2 of the officers were able to make the training. One of the officers had a family sickness, and I got called for a special assignment, so I was unable to attend that meeting also. So I'm kind of asking you guys if me and the other officer can, at the convenience of Chief Mills, if we can go over some of the things that he went over at the class, that we can go up there and I can finalize some things and hopefully have this April 1st that we can have this rolled out in the police cars. We have it right now present in our police station, so if we come in some sort of interaction with some sort of fentanyl or substance like that, we have Narcan on hand now at the police station. But before we can put it in the vehicles, I'd really like to get some more information on it and actually go talk to it. Right, exactly. So I can make up some sort of policy for it.
So it's you and who?
Me and Devin.
Okay, so let's approve that for future. You're just going to be setting up something?
Right, it'll be this month. Yeah, it'll
Okay.
be this month. I'll call them up unless there's some, I don't think there'll be any problem with meeting with Devin and I and going over what he went over with the, during the class. And it's not an actual certification, so that won't be that difficult, just that we attended it. And I have some administrative questions for him, so.
Okay.
Need a motion?
Yes, make a motion on
I'll make
that.
the motion.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to send the chief and Evan to Delhi to get their, I guess not really certification, but training done on Narcan.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I think that's all I really got
That's all you got.
for right now. That's it.
That's good.
All right. We do have some,
Yeah, we're going to talk.
right,
later
for the
about
other
that.
stuff, right. But other than that,
Okay. Good deal. Thank you, Chief. Bill Brown, saving the best for last. Well, they're not thinking so. Hello.
Couple items to touch base on. One item at the wastewater treatment plant, something we touched base on in committee. There's a variety of chemicals used at the wastewater treatment plant. There are a couple of them that are kind of more specialty than others, and 2 of those being the chemical used in the sand filter and the chemical used in the screw press, which is the piece of equipment used for sludge processing. The 2 chemicals used there are Sac Plus and Stay Flock for the sand filter and the we would recommend that the village board consider standardizing on those 2 chemicals. They are proprietary chemicals that have been tested at the facility, at the Walton facility, and they work with our equipment. There are other options out there that have been tested as well and don't work as well with the equipment, and ultimately the village is mandated by the state to meet effluent standards for what goes out to the river. These are the chemicals that work there for these 2 pieces of equipment. We would like to stay with them. The supplier is Slack Chemical. They actually manufacture these chemicals. They're a New York State company, and have had good service with the village for a number of years as a chemical supplier for these and the other chemicals, chlorine, and some of the other stuff used at the wastewater plant and at the pool and the water treatment facility. So what I'm saying is more detailed than what I've got in the handout here, but it's what we touch base on in committee, and something we wanted to touch base with the board on. Basically standardizing means we're going to lock in these two chemicals with the supplier for purchase and use at the village wastewater treatment plant. So,
Are these more expensive than other chemicals we've used, or?
they're not, but we have had other suppliers reaching out, offering their wares, so to speak, and they have not come and done testing to confirm that they meet the requirements of the effluent standards. The recent solicitations anyway, there have been testing of other manufacturers in the past, and they have not been able to perform and ultimately make the water as clean as we need to going out the back end. So the supplier we're talking to, with the operations staff, we have shopped around to get comparable pricing. This is as cheap or cheaper than the comparable pricing we've obtained to date. It's something we'd like to stay with. There have been other vendors that have come in and say we might be able to do a few cents cheaper per gallon, but then we get the bill and there's a fuel surcharge and an overtime rate for Saturday delivery when there was a high flow event, or this, that, or the other. So that's kind of the background on why we're looking to move forward with staying where we are, so we maintain treatment at the facility.
Because we have to, excuse me, we have to meet permit.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to get fined for it.
Right. I mean, that's the be-all, end-all. The village needs to do their due diligence, to procure goods and services. But at the end of the day, we have a contractual obligation with New York State DEC with our permit to make sure the water is as clean going out the back end of the plant as it is mandated to be. So these are the chemicals that allow that, in part, allow that to happen, whereas other have not. So that's kind of the background.
We need a motion on that.
Okay, so I make a motion that we lock into the Slack Chemical Company for standardizing these two chemicals?
Yep.
Which are?
Slack Plus.
And Stay-Flock.
And Stay-Flock, which is a polymer, and the first one is a coagulant.
Okay.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried. We'll try to get everybody's eyes all here together.
Nothing new really moving down the sheet here. Nothing really new to report right at the moment on Shepherd Street. As we get into some better weather, I know there's some storm drainage and some paving work to finish up for that project. The couple of asks we do have tonight are related to the water project, which was mentioned a little bit earlier. The village was awarded $1.2 million to go towards replacement of water mains, upgrade at one of the well houses, upgrades at the tank sites, really maintaining and securing your water system. So the grant was awarded to the village. There's a loan associated with that as well, which was discussed as part of the capital charge. The initial award letter was received. The next step is to close on the financing with the state, really to close on the mortgage, so to speak. The village received early in February a list of paperwork items, which we responded to move forward with that process. Two of the items that they are asking to move forward with are to line up the attorneys for the project. And it's really to allow for any costs that are incurred for legal services to be eligible under the project financing. So any good or service that's utilized over the course of the project, whether it's engineering, attorneys, construction, you have to have a contract in place. A copy of that contract has to go to the state, put on the budget, so that they're noted as eligible costs and being provided for this project and not for something at the sewer plant or buying a new truck or whatever it may be. So there are two attorneys that are involved in the overall process. One is Dave Merzig, who is your village attorney. has been for a number of years. He would serve as local counsel, so there isn't anything specific that we know we're going to need an attorney for at this point in time. A lot of times it ends up being if there's an easement or something that's needed during construction, but it's really to have an attorney on retainer, so to speak, should there be legal services that are needed or maybe needed in quick order. So Mr. Merzig provided a retainer agreement, which is one of the attachments in this docket. There is money budgeted in the overall $2 million project to cover local council services. So we would ask the board to consider approving the agreement with Kehoe and Merzig, essentially Dave Merzig.
So does the retainer cost, that comes out of our bonded, or our own financing?
Comes out of the $2 million.
Comes
yeah.
out of the whole project.
Right.
And that's
it's,
only if we use it.
right, exactly. I mean,
It's not like we're giving him a set amount of money.
right.
It's just if we need him.
And if we do, it's budgeted into
Yeah,
the
Correct.
project already.
Yep.
Yep. So I need a motion for us to go ahead and sign that.
I'd make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. What you got, Bill?
The one other is your bond counsel, who's Joan Blykamp, has been the bond counsel for the village for a number of years. She's with a firm called Walsh & Walsh. They're out of the Saratoga area. They prepare the bonds, which are the mortgage, so to speak, between EFC and the village. So Joan prepared the bond resolution that kind of started this off. The next step will be a bond anticipation note, which is kind of like a construction loan. So that's a fairly intense document that gets prepared. And then ultimately, when construction's done, that construction loan gets rolled into a long-term, a 30-year bond with EFC. So she kind of prepares all that documentation and makes sure it's compliant with state finance law and all that kind of fun stuff. So similar thing there, to have an agreement in place with Walsh & Walsh, Joan Blykamp, to serve as bond counsel for the project.
We need a motion for that, so we can sign that.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made, seconded, to sign the documents to get the bonding going. All in favor?
Yeah.
Opposed? Carried.
We will continue to kind of trade paperwork back and forth with the village and the state as that progresses. The only other items are just kind of FYI stuff. On the Third Brook Bridge, we did get a letter back from DOT, which was requested by CWC. The village had applied to CWC to seek money to try to replace that structure. CWC asked for input from DOT. DOT provided that input. They're willing to let that be a permitted project. If the structure is replaced with a wider span bridge, they would take ownership of it. At this point in time, they don't have any money to kick in towards the project. And that's what's in the letter. So that goes back to CWC, and then we wait for CWC to, provide determination whether they're going to fund moving forward with the project. So we can probably touch base with them Thursday at Flood Commission.
We'll find out.
I think that's all we had to ask for and touch base on. Highway Garage, Senator Metzger's office, traded some paperwork back and forth with them over the past month to move forward with that financing. That usually takes 6 months to a year to get that funding in place.
Okay.
Let's just back up a second. Lillian pointed out in the second paragraph of the retainer agreement for Kehoe and Merzig, the charge agreement is stipulated in the sentence $195, and the monetary amount reads $225. So that has to be corrected before it's signed.
Okay. You see different dollar marks, didn't you?
Couple more commas and they would be going to Acapulco.
You like that, Joe? Any questions for Bill? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Trustees report. We're gonna go this way. Stephen, anything in the trustees report?
Yes. Well, it's not a trustee's report for the wastewater treatment plant. We covered that already. But I would like for the board to consider a motion from a member other than myself to make application to the Mattern Fund to receive grant money towards our Water Street project, namely the trail and parking area that's supposed to be implemented therein. Now I have to back up and ask for permission to write a letter, which I already sent to the Mattern Fund, letting them know that we wanted to be considered to apply for the grant, which I did already, at your behest.
That was time sensitive.
It was time sensitive, it had to be done by last week, so I did it. And I signed Eric's name to it, and we're both going to jail.
How about that?
So if we could have permission to show interest in the Mattern Fund grant and further allow the mayor to sign paperwork pertaining to that grant, that would be the motion. I guess I can make the motion.
I would second that.
Thank you.
Okay, motion made, seconded for us to go forward with the Mattern grant. All in favor?
Aye.
More money.
Carried. Anything else under?
We get to ask for it.
Yeah. Anything else under?
No, thank you.
All right. Mr. Lloyd?
I don't have anything.
Alrighty.
Committee related, I don't. There's another thing that I have been working with some of the community members with. It's developing a twin town relationship with a foreign town. So the
Foreign
purpose.
town, another country?
Well, oh yeah. Well, specifically Ireland, a town in Ireland.
Why would that be? Did you happen to go to Ireland or something just recently?
Yeah. No. 'Cause it basically is an opportunity for towns to develop an international relationship. We kind of promote our similarities, namely cultural things that we share. It's really something that I'm just trying to understand myself and to explore. So I don't know if I'm not seeking necessarily.
It's not costing us anything, so yeah,
Of course not, no.
knock yourself out.
Yeah, all right.
What he's not telling you is he's already applied on behalf of other people or groups for a grant.
So he's grouped somebody else in there, has he?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
no, not me, I'm just
Oh.
saying, I heard wind of it,
Yeah.
but the town is Cavan, Ireland, where one of our newest residents, Caroline Fay, is from.
Okay.
So, but Eric has also been to that town many times, so he was, and Caroline were both looking at this project, but in a different, separately, like without knowing
Right,
they
so
both were.
the grant that Tara mentioned is through her town, Cavan. They're having a homecoming thing, so calling it the Cavan diaspora, so everyone that lives abroad is coming back, so it's the first step of establishing a relationship with Cavan and Walton, and seeing where we can grow that relationship from here, so it can help promote international tourism, among other things, so.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Yes, sir. Nate?
Well, the balcony restoration project is well underway, and the WTPA is looking to bring in a indie flick night to complement the classic flick night, which would be on another Thursday each month. So that's something that's going to be up and coming, the indie flicks. The park is getting ready for springtime. The DPW guys have been doing lots of great work over in the park. They've cut down some dead trees over at Austin Lincoln. They've repaired a wall on one of the buildings and applied some paint. They've built a replacement table for Upper Bassett, which is a different park, but they've in the future they're going to be working on the walking trail around the park, finishing the baseball building over at Austin Lincoln Park, and finishing the roof on the smaller pavilion. And there are other things in the work as well, but work is ramping up to get the parks ready for springtime and summer.
Nice. The only thing I'm a little upset about with the theater, I haven't seen any swatches so I can pick out my seat colors or anything that I want. That's one of them mine.
Well, you know, for $100 you can.
Oh, no. There was agreement that they were going to do that for
You
me.
can't sponsor a seat. You can get your name on a seat in the theater.
I should anyways,
Forever
right?
and ever.
Forever and ever, yeah.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever.
The mayor's box.
The mayor's box.
So the next time they place it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Trustees are done. Mayor's report. I got a list of stuff that.
You too?
I can't remember all of what it was.
NICOM things.
Oh, yes, the NICOM. Got the resolution from the NICOM.
We had a wonderful event yesterday. I suppose we had a wonderful event yesterday where we screened the video from the Destination Walton group, the 10-minute video narrated by Ron Golly. Beautiful video, still in the running for the HGTV Town Takeover Grant. Of course, there are 3,100 applicants across the country, but I'm pretty sure we're going to win.
Good to
We
stay
had a
positive.
wonderful event there yesterday. Maureen Blanchard came and spoke among other people about opportunities for Walton in the future.
Nice.
I see there's a couple towns right around here in the running also.
Oh, yeah. Ellenville, Margaretville,
Norwich,
Deposit,
Norwich.
Endicott, I forget those all.
every town.
Yeah.
Every
Little Falls, there's something in Washington County, there are quite a few in New York State, so.
We're going to win.
There you go. The resolution here, everybody had a chance to look at it? Amended to the New York State Criminal Justice. They want us to, yep, they want us to send this up to them and let them know about this.
I don't think so. You don't know about this.
Okay.
Let's let them know.
Want a copy to take a peek
Would you
real
like to
quick?
take a look at it?
Doesn't matter, it's
No.
for NICOM to
Yeah, it's for NICOM to go ahead and push towards more of the
vote, yeah.
vote. So, do you want us to go ahead and sign this and send it back up to them?
I need a motion for you.
Is this the NICOM resolution?
Yes.
Yes.
It's the,
Okay.
about the,
I mean, if it reflects the priorities that our local police department would agree with.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
is that?
Yep.
Okay. I'd make a motion and we sign it for it.
Okay.
I second it.
Motion made second, go ahead and sign the resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Also, I have in my bag of tricks to the left with you.
The NICOM letter about the small wireless facilities.
Oh, yes, that's right.
That was the bail review.
That was the first one, wasn't it?
The first one.
Yep, and this one here is on the small wireless. Being able to come in and do what they want without any of the municipalities being able to have any control over them. And that's gonna go back to them. If anybody wants us to sign this, I can sign it and send it back.
I make that resolution, that we sign the letter for the second resolution to
second-
send back to NICOM.
Yeah, I second that one.
Okay, motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Steve, what is a small wireless facility?
You know what?
The,
Better off just let you, you have a copy?
Putting up a big
Yeah.
cell
I do.
tower, they put boosters, sometimes on telephone poles, different places, you can actually put in the buildings.
For cell phones, you mean?
Yeah.
It's a cell phone.
Wanna
It's
scribble
a
that right
booster
now?
for the cell
Okay.
phone.
Is that
That's
it?
all I have for you in your folder, yes.
That's all I had on my little list. And we've already done the complete streets. Let's go to the Delaware County tax foreclosure stipulation. You've got that list in front of you?
Yep, we received the annual stipulation to piggyback with the Delaware County Treasurer's Office on their foreclosure process. I forwarded that to everybody. If you guys are all in favor, we need to pass this resolution.
That guarantees that we'll get our share, correct? As I read it?
No,
No.
they guarantee that they're gonna take their share first,
And leave
and
us
if there's
hanging.
anything left over, we would get.
Yeah. So at least for,
well, how do
hopefully
we
gonna,
feel about that from a village clerk standpoint?
Yeah,
It's the same way in reverse that we do to them.
Only
is
with
that what
it.
they were doing?
Yes.
when we foreclose our property here, and if we get more than what's owed to us, the balance goes to the county to take care of their portion. So they're doing it that same way. They'll take and do the foreclosure, they'll get whatever they can out of it, or hopefully can get out of it, take care of their portion, and then if there's anything left, which hopefully is enough to take care of our portion.
So it guarantees that they'll send us something.
No.
No.
If they don't get enough to pay their bill, we get nothing.
Yep. But if they get more.
We set minimum bids, so we always try to get what we've got in the property, what we're owed, and the expenses that we come. They just go up to auction. If somebody bids $500, they'll sell it for $500. So we're not guaranteed anything.
So then why would we sign that?
because otherwise we're not gonna get anything anyway.
Yeah. So this year, just if they go over, and we'll get something.
So I make a motion that we sign that agreement.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to sign the agreement. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Budget amendments?
I forwarded those all to everybody
Yep.
early in the month. Just need a motion if everybody's in favor of the budget amendments.
Anybody happy with that?
I move we accept the budget amendment.
Second.
Motion made, seconded to accept the budget amendments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. That was one we already did, right?
Yes, we did those.
That's what we just did. That concludes the portion of this meeting. We are going to go into executive session to talk about the police contract.
There's a lot of paperwork this week.
Yes, there is.
We need a motion.
Yes, we need a motion to go into executive.
I would motion that we go into executive.
Second motion.
Motion second to go in executive. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Yes, a lot of trees were sacrificed.
Yeah.
Well done.